Welcome back everyone, it's me, it's Goomy, it's Goom, here again with some more shotgun content for ya. One of the things that I've genuinely been curious about since launch that I haven't really checked till now was how good are shotguns against Scorestreaks in this game? And to add to that, is FMJ any good at all on shotguns? So that is what today is all about. We're going to check out how FMJ works for a shotgun, and in addition to this, let's take a quick look at how shotguns work with and without FMJ equipped against some Scorestreaks. For the first part of the video, we're going to focus just on FMJ and how it affects wall penetration. And with this video, I'm going to be going over Buckshot as well as Slug rounds, so stay tuned for that and make sure to check the timestamps in the description below. First off, you've probably noticed that when you're playing this game, shotguns don't really shoot through much at all. They don't really shoot through walls that well, and in fact, they don't do much at all in terms of penetration. A bare bones shotgun won't penetrate basically any surface in the game, it seems like. You would think that it'd work well against maybe a wooden door or a piece of plywood cover, but nope, shotguns just don't work like that in this game. It makes it really hard to hit players who are behind cover because with the amount of spreads some shotguns have, most of those pellets will hit that surface they're hiding behind without hitting the actual player. This gets me killed quite a lot going up against head glitchers. Shotguns alone just don't work well for this, so the general rule is to just avoid trying to shoot through cover with a shotgun because it just won't work. Once we put FMJ on though, things do change a little bit for the better. Many thin walls are now able to be shot through, and as a general rule, it looks as if the surface had one thinnish layer of material it could be shot through. For example, the shipping containers on shipment. Through the sides of the containers, you can shoot and kill players in one shot at times with a shotgun with FMJ on. However, you'll notice that trying to shoot through the back or front of the container, which are a thicker area, then the shot will not go through. So with that being said, if you know someone is camping on shipment inside of that container, equip FMJ on a shotgun and just start blasting through the container and laugh at how ridiculous you probably look to other players. Of course, an LMG or an assault rifle would probably be better for this job, but one-shotting someone through a wall is pretty damn fun if you ask me. So what are some other objects you can shoot through with FMJ on a shotgun? Well, wooden doors now, thankfully, even though they should have been able to be shot through without FMJ, but that's just my opinion. If you know someone is around a wooden door or putting claymores in front of it, you can shoot through it and blow them up. Metal doors though are impenetrable. I tried every door I could find and only wooden doors were able to be shot through. What about concrete surfaces? Well, it seems like the closer you are to the edge of some pieces of concrete cover, you can shoot through at very specific angles, but overall, your shotgun blast is still not going to be going through solid concrete walls and those little solid barriers you see scattered around some levels. However, it seems like some walls made from cinder blocks that are basically one layer, you can shoot through those pretty easily. So solid concrete is a no-go, but cinder blocks can be penetrated pretty easily and effectively, I found. Thin metal objects that are again basically like a single layer can also be shot through, like these thin metal walls that are placed for cover in certain areas like backlot. You can shoot through things like this pretty easily. It seems like you can one-shot enemies through the objects up to a certain distance, but past maybe 5 meters or so, that damage drops, and of course, you need more pellets to kill, but also it should take around 2 to 3 shots if you're past that 5 meters or so, depending on the gun and how tight the spread is. And yes, you can actually shoot through some ceilings with FMJ on Buckshot. Now, on this example, a pretty common camping spot for people on Crash is up these stairs and directly across from them. Someone just lays down prone and waits for an unsuspecting victim to walk up the stairs. Well, you can actually go from below them and blast them once or twice, and you have yourself one dead squeaker camper. Another example on Crash is the top of the 3-story building. You know the one. You try to go up to the top of the building only to be greeted by a 725 user laying down prone with EOD on, just waiting for you to even try getting 1 pixel past his perfect accuracy. You can just go from below them and start unloading and boom. It's actually pretty useful against some pesky campers in certain maps. One more common example, you guessed it, is the boiler room on Gunrunner. Without FMJ, it's not going to work. But with FMJ, you can shoot through this wall and it'll take 1 to 3 shots depending on the distance to kill them and how accurate you are. People don't really expect it, and honestly, you can do this with so many guns that I always recommend spraying a little bit if you suspect someone is hiding in there. Just do a quick little sweep. So FMJ on Buckshot has some use. It definitely helps what it's intended to help, but if you're farther than 5 meters, it's going to take quite a bit of shots to kill if many of your pellets are going through a surface. It can take anywhere from 4 to 6, depending on distance and what you shoot through. So, is it nice? Yeah, but is it worth using an attachment slot for it all the time? Maybe. But let's check out Slugs, and then let's check out how effective shotguns are against Scorestreaks after that. Slugs on their own basically function like Buckshot with FMJ on. They actually have a good bit of penetration power and can penetrate virtually the same objects as Buckshot with FMJ, but can actually do more. As you'll see here, it can actually penetrate these solid concrete barriers laying around. That's without FMJ as well. Now when you actually start shooting at a person, don't expect to kill them in 1 or 2 shots with a slug through an object like this. Oh no, it's gonna be like 5 at least. For some reason, slugs just don't do a lot of damage through an object. I mean, I understand why in terms of how they work realistically. Of course, it depends on the object, but in most cases, it's gonna take you at least an extra shot to kill with someone if that slug doesn't hit them directly. But yes, slugs can shoot through some walls and ceilings, just like FMJ on Buckshot can. So what does FMJ do for slugs? Surely it becomes a super slug and can penetrate 5 metal objects with a concrete slab in front of it? Well, it doesn't really help it at all. It seemingly has no effect on how well a slug can penetrate an object. And actually, the damage you do is less than without FMJ through walls. Yeah, so I think it's bugged. In this clip, you'll see I do 90 hit points of damage to an enemy through an object without FMJ. Putting FMJ on reduced it to 76 damage. I have no idea what's going on with that. It should be the opposite, but my guess is it's just been overlooked and it's potentially bugged. So do not bother using slugs with FMJ at all. It's just not going to do anything positive for you, and you are wasting an attachment slot, at least when it comes to shooting through objects at people. The way FMJ works on Buckshot and Slugs seems to be the same for all shotguns when it comes to this, so don't expect the 725 to be able to shoot through more objects than, let's say, the Origin 12. So now that we've covered how much it helps with shooting through objects, how do shotguns fare against score streaks, and how does FMJ affect your damage against them? And more importantly, can we snipe UAVs with a shotgun now with slugs? So let's go ahead and jump right into this next section. What I wanted to do is go over normal Buckshot first again, talk about Dragon's Breath, and then dive into slugs. And with slugs, seeing how they have lots of range, we can actually shoot down aerial score streaks. But let's start with Buckshot and go up against some traditional ground score streaks that we see in the game. And really, there aren't that many. The Wheelson is definitely one of the more popular ones, so let's take a look at that one. With the Model 680, the Wheelson takes about 8 shots, the R90 takes about 15, the 725 takes 20, Origin takes 15, and the Rogue takes 8. Processing those numbers, the 725, which is usually the powerhouse shotgun, actually takes more than twice the amount as the Model 680. The Rogue and the Model 680 both have the same amount of shots to kill them, and the Origin and R90 have the same amount as well. So how much does FMJ help? Well, look at the numbers. That's right, no change whatsoever. For the Wheelson specifically, FMJ does not change the amount of shots to kill them. Probably a bug, but whatever. If you have a Rogue or a 680, I'd go ahead and try taking them out, especially since you'll probably have teammates also doing damage. If you have the 725, just avoid them entirely. However, we do have Dragon's Breath as well, and for the Wheelson, it again takes 8 shots, and with FMJ, it's still 8 shots for both of the Dragon's Breath shotguns. So not really any better. The next streak we're going to look at, which is kind of rare to see, but still fun nonetheless, is the Juggernaut. Now, the Juggernaut is special because all shotguns do the same set amount of damage to them. With no FMJ, you can take a Juggernaut out with 30 shotgun shells, and with FMJ, that goes down to 21 shots, again for all the shotguns across the board. So the ones like the Origin 12 and R90 that shoot a little bit quicker are probably going to be your best bets for just spamming all-out damage against them. Of course, taking on a Juggernaut on your own with a shotgun is probably not going to happen, but again, assuming you have teammates helping you out, you may be able to do some damage with the faster fire rate shotguns. Wouldn't recommend using a 725 or 680 here for these guys honestly though. Now, what about Dragon's Breath? Dragon's Breath on both the Rogue and the 680 can take up to 26 shots with no FMJ and only 19 shots with it on, so that is your best way to use a shotgun against a Juggernaut, but considering you have to be so close, shotguns are just kind of scary to use against a Juggernaut honestly, but it can be done. Just wait until we get to Slugs though, because oh my god, it's not good, but you'll see what I'm talking about. That basically covers the ground streaks that a normal Buckshot shotgun can handle. I didn't really bother covering the sentry gun because most people just kind of smack them with their fists anyway, and I can remember from experience it takes a decent amount of shells to take them out anyway. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Taking down streaks with slugs like UAVs, chopper gunners, and all that good stuff. You're going to see that using slugs against score streaks is generally not going to be recommended though, as you'll see in just a second. So for the Wheelson, slug damage is fixed for all shotguns yet again, and the number of shots it takes is 30. 30 shots to destroy a Wheelson? Okay game, okay. A little excessive in my opinion though. With FMJ, it does take it down to 20 shots, but come on. Why are slugs so bad against these guys? I think this is another oversight, but I just don't recommend shooting slugs at these guys if you have them equipped. Just avoid them and run the other way. Now for juggernauts, I don't think we're ready for this. How many shots do you think it takes with bare bones slugs, no FMJ, to take down a juggernaut? Given how weak they are against a Wheelson and in Warzone 2, just take a guess. Seriously, pause the video and leave a comment with your best guess. You done? Okay. Perfect. For a juggernaut, the number of shots it takes to kill with a slug is 150.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I wish I was exaggerating, but it's 150. It hit triple digits, folks. If this doesn't seem like an oversight to you, I don't know what it is. 150, just how? I was laughing to myself the whole time I tested this. With FMJ, it's still in the triple digits. This time it's 100 even. Ouch, just ouch. So if you see a juggernaut and you manage to run into one, please for the love of God and all that is holy, just run. Run and never look back before they desecrate your corpse with their minigun. Ah, man, that's pretty whack, isn't it? But let's not get too stuck on this though, because we got some more stuff to cover. More specifically, sniping score streaks with shotguns. Can it be done? Oh yeah. Should it be done? Probably not. First, the personal UAV. With no FMJ, the 680 can take them down in 10 shots, the R90, Rogue, and Origin all take them down in 14, and the 725 takes it down in 8. With FMJ on, the 680 takes 7, 725 takes 5, and the other 3 take 10. Not amazing, but doable. The personal UAV is easier to shoot down because of how close it gets, but it's probably not worth it to shoot 10 to 14 shots at a moving one because you'll end up just getting shot in the back a few times before you get it to go down by yourself. For the UAV, the normal UAV, the 680, Origin, Rogue, and R90 all take 9 shots without FMJ, and the 725 takes 5. FMJ though really helps here, with all the shotguns taking only 3 shots and the 725 only taking 2. That's pretty awesome. Of course, it's really hard to hit a UAV with a slug in this game. It takes quite a bit of leading your target. The only time I would recommend shooting them with slugs is if you had FMJ on, and honestly, after all you've seen, you've probably already gathered that FMJ and slugs are just not a worthy combination. Now, I tested a few more just for fun, so let's take a look at how effective they are against VTOLs and chopper gunners. For VTOLs, it's pointless. All shotguns take basically over 25, with the 725 only taking 26, but every other shotgun taking over 40. I couldn't even finish destroying them because they would just leave. They literally just flew away after I unloaded 40 shotgun slugs into them. FMJ doesn't even help that much. They all took over 30 even with it on, except the 725, which took only 17. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Just because you can snipe with slugs against score streaks doesn't mean you probably should. For the chopper gunner, which you should never really attempt to shoot down in most cases with a regular gun, especially a slug shotgun, it's going to take you 27 with the 680 and the Rogue, 21 with the 725, 40 with the Origin and R90. FMJ takes the 680 and Rogue to 18, the 725 to 14, and 27 for the Origin and R90. Not that bad compared to the VTOL, oddly enough. But who in their right mind is going to shoot a chopper gunner that's actually controlled by a competent player with slugs? Well, hopefully after this video, no one will. Okay, so that's kind of a lot of numbers and info. Sorry about that, but hey, someone had to look at this stuff. Honestly, I was hoping that I was going to discover some super secret awesome way to take down streaks, but nope, slugs are still pretty doo-doo against them. So don't bother using them against streaks at all. Ground streaks or aerial, it doesn't really matter, except UAVs because that's kind of fun, but you really need FMJ. So now let's summarize. Using FMJ on Buckshot is useful, but it's also very niche. There are not too many situations where you'd be better off using FMJ over, let's say, a grip or a stock attachment, but in games where someone is very campy or just not moving, you can always try switching the class to FMJ just for that particular game, and then switching it back. It has a use, but it isn't super effective for many scenarios. For ground score streaks, the shotguns are nice, but you don't really need FMJ to make them work that much better, especially the Wheelson. As for using FMJ on slugs, do not even bother. It lowers your damage through objects, it doesn't help you shoot through any more objects, and it takes a point slot that is just better spent somewhere else. Don't you dare try to shoot any score streak with slugs. I'm going to say that slugs are useless against score streaks unless you have FMJ and slugs both for shooting UAVs. But that's literally the only redeeming factor from the combination, really. The bottom line is that Buckshot and FMJ works good enough, but it's not worth it in most scenarios, and slugs and FMJ are an awful combination. And that is all I wanted to share with you guys. I know it's a lot to take in, but hopefully you learned something neat from it all. Let me know what you guys think of FMJ. Did you ever use it before this video on shotguns? Do you think it's worth it just to shoot through a few more objects? Let me know, and with all that being said and out of the way, I want to wish you all a very happy day/night, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!